Set for release September 25th, 2025 on Steam and the MetaQuest platform, then with a 2026 release date to be announced on PSVR 2 by developer and publisher Cytech Games. Titan Isles makes it up there as one of the most entertaining experiences I've had for 2025, flat or VR. A VR experience with great cel-shaded cartoon-styled visuals that works well on both PC VR and standalone, even on the Quest 2. A well-told story with great voice acting, good sound design, and the adhesive that makes every aspect stick. Glorious gameplay mechanics, with a whole lot more ups than downs, and a runtime that does not overstay its welcome, and endgame content for replayability. Titan Isles easily makes it on my list for one of the best VR experiences I've had for 2025, thanks to Cytech Games for the MetaQuest and Steam VR keys. Watch the Lab Video Game TV, the TV series, on Flow One in 25 Caribbean countries, and on the Caribbean's premium streaming app, Stream Blue. Listen to the Lab Video Game TV's gaming news every Thursday at 4 p.m. during the Sage Projects on Ontario's Island Radio 101.3 FM and online at cjai.ca. Now let's see what's got me so worked up about Titan Isles. While in stasis, your homeworld, Tosca, has been overrun by gigantic machines. You're woken up by a, quirky flying robot called Quirk. You're immediately given a trial by fire whistle while you work tutorial and vague rundown of what's happened. Taken back to what will become your headquarters, your base of operations, Cloud's Edge. You're introduced to Visker, a commander of sorts of the would-be resistance. Most of the tragedy is a mystery. The origin and purpose of the invasion is still up in the air. This is where you come in. The story opens up as you progress. While I appreciate a good cutscene, the story is told through VR interactions and bits you pick up from radio towers. There's an opening bit in the intro that could have used a cutscene where there's only text, but other than that, the way the story played out, particularly with interactions with NPCs, was fine, and perhaps the best way to tell a story in VR when I think about it.
I need you to get out there, board the ship, and recover it. This won't be easy.
Over in sound, we've got good voice acting from all involved. Even the attempts at humor from Quirk never once made me laugh with the whole Saturday morning cartoon vibe, but still well done for what it is.
Okay, fine. You took down more Titans. Curse my humble morality.
I believe I heard one expletive used, so it wasn't exactly a G-rated experience either.
Cavalry? Hopefully more than just you used it. I've been trapped here for 3...
Many times if a character started talking to me, if I walked away a few feet, enough for it to stop talking. When I walked back in, the conversation would restart. That was a bit jarring. The same goes for the arrogant scientists recording from the radio towers.
Testing is complete, but approval is being withheld. Testing is complete, but approval is being withheld.
Also noticeable was when a character started talking to you, if you moved out of their line of sight, they would not follow you. They'd continue talking, looking at nothing.
From what we can tell, it's something massive, close to the old skyport of Nine Clouds. We need to remove whatever threat is preventing the mapping signal from getting through.
The score was well done, fits the look and feel, and adds to the experience as it should. The sound effects were great, from the weapons to the sounds your exosuit made, the mechanical sounds when it takes off and when it lands on a surface, well done. In the visuals department, Titan Isles looks great for what it is. Let me explain. I've seen developers go this route many times before. It seems as if developers design their games with a heavy emphasis on the Quest platform primarily. Experiences like 2023's Space Salvage, the recently released Quantum Void, Quantum Threshold, and many others have a visual design that looks like, although it is made for PC VR and PSVR 2 as well, the devs didn't want there to be a huge disparity when displayed on a Quest, like Metro Awakening, Alien Rogue Incursion, Madison VR, and such. So devs create a middle ground. Now with that said, Titan Isles does look better on PC VR when cranked up to very high or ultra. There is a difference, but Quest 2 and 3 owners will not feel shortchanged, as the difference isn't that huge and it looks great on either platform. I'm not saying Titan Isles would not have looked better if the devs went for more realistic, lifelike visuals. It would, but these cel-shaded cartoon graphics do the job really well. And the entire experience from story to sound design does have that, like I alluded to, Saturday morning cartoon vibe to it. So yeah, it works. I love how these levels look, particularly this one. The characters are detailed, the Titans are well designed, your hands, your weapons, and exosuit. It all works, and the draw distances are handled well, so unless you particularly dislike this art style, you should also be good with these visuals. Me, I don't really like voxel art style experiences, so most times I steer clear, so I totally get it. Now here's my favorite part, gameplay, the element that had me hooked to Titan Isles from start to finish. Should I create a top VR list for 2025 in 2026? This is what will put Titan Isles way up there. On startup, you get a warning. Titan Isles is not made for the weak. Strong VR legs are required for this engagement, and the devs were not exaggerating. If I didn't have a black belt in VR by the time I started Titan Isles was the dojo that gave it to me. I'm a certified VR Jedi at this point. Platforming in VR was one of my greatest challenges. Now, I'm ready for anything a dev throws at me. I've never once experienced motion sickness in Titan Isles, but at this point in my VR journey that hardly ever happens anyway. The last time I remember feeling that was in Aragon, and I'm not even certain why that happened. Controlling the traversal, maneuvering these exosuits in VR was my greatest hurdle. But once I stuck to it, after about my third or fourth session, I had the mechanics down to a science. It was more a mind thing at first, more overthinking. Once I understood the strengths and limitations of my chosen suit, I was good to go. There was this one thing though that I think is a glitch of some kind. There's a collision detection issue when you touch certain parts of the environment. You walk into or land on a wall and you bounce off in a very extreme and unnatural way, like you touched a spring or jumped on a trampoline. This threw me off in the beginning a lot, no pun intended.
No charge, no work.
There's also this other thing, when aiming close to a ledge or edge. There's a crosshair issue, where the crosshair goes crazy and you don't hit what you're aiming at. However, in settings, we've got our usual suspects. After the initial warning, you're given comfort options. Then you've got controls. Haptics, which includes support for bHaptics peripherals, visuals, sharing via live support, sound options which are quite flexible, game options, movement, accessibility, and you can revisit the comfort options if you need to adjust any of that. After the intro story and introductory tutorial, you enter the hub, where the main gameplay loop and story unfolds. There you can choose your suit. Each suit is designed the best way I imagine the devs could have done it. Each suit feels very different and leaves room for flexible, creative gameplay options. There's the Blink, the Goliath, the Hunter, and Storm. You're able to choose from flight, Spider-Man-like traversal, hovering, and a Nightcrawler-like teleport mechanic. The weapons are also distinctly different. These exosuit options add to the overall replayability for those who are into that. Variety when engaging in up to 4-player co-op while catering to different VR players. Perfect example, I stuck to the Goliath the entire time, never switched. After some trial and error, some getting used to, it was the only suit that made sense to me. Using the Spider-Man-like locomotion would have never worked. I was never really good with a bow and arrow in VR, and while I gave the Storm suit a go at first, even that didn't stick like the Goliath. While when I was in multiplayer, the other two guys on my team were using Hunter and Blink, I think. That proves my point. Love the versatility there.
Hey there, you found the race interface. Thought you could use a little break from all the, looming danger?
Other than the main story campaign, you can take on side activities, races, collection sprint, and a target rush. I didn't spend much time with that, as I'm more of a stick to the primary objective kind of person, and I do love a good campaign.
There's collectathons, target shootouts, and good old-fashioned races to the finish line. Go for some high scores if you're feeling competitive. We'll be keeping track.
So the main loop is, enter the hub, talk to Visker, accept your main mission from the board, choose a route, equip your preferred exosuit, and check for upgrades to your suit. You're able to purchase upgrades from a small skill tree by using super chips. You get these chips after defeating a boss and clearing a level. Depending on the difficulty you choose, before starting up the level, that would determine how many super chips you got. The upgrades vary from weapon damage, weapon capacity, armor defense, armor offense, and energy. You can also use regular chips for cosmetic upgrades. This didn't interest me much though, but I do get that some are into that kind of thing, so it's there for those who may want to show off their appearances to others in PvE. At first I thought the upgrade mechanic was lacking. At one point, I was missing an RPG, maybe even roguelike styled progression system. I also noticed that enemy variety seemed lacking, but as I progressed through the campaign and realized it would have a short runtime, I appreciated the mechanics more. Titan Isles, like I said, does not overstay its welcome. And while it has its difficulty levels and challenges, it's not an incredibly difficult experience, so the devs give you what is required, and not give you more than you can bear. Before I could start getting bored with the enemy variety, the story, the loop, Titan Isles was over. It's a compact, concise experience that does what it does well, and I appreciate that.
I've got my captain's hat at the ready. Ahoy, mateys! Cast off.
Once you've picked and upgraded your suit, you board Quirk's ship and head out. Each stage is split up into areas. Usually, you just need to clear out all the enemy presence from each. A door unlocks and you proceed. You keep going and may encounter an additional objective like rescuing a team member, defeating a mini-boss. Find the main boss in these very linear levels, defeat it, grab the core or whatever item it was holding and meet up with Quirk to head back to Cloud's Edge. And thankfully, there are no puzzles in Titan Isles. Now, the boss battles are highly entertaining. Basic, but entertaining nonetheless. You just need to chip away at its armor, then expose the core and destroy it. Again, the main mechanic at play in Titan Isles is traversal. Outmaneuvering these titans, attacking, defending, finding a good vantage point to strike the core when exposed, that's the real challenge. But it feels good when you do. That's kind of the closest thing you'll find to a puzzle here. The bosses are also not hard, harder, hardest. I love when developers do this. So the last boss isn't going to take forever to take out through constant trial and error. This boss here was actually the toughest, and thankfully I had a small team with me at this juncture, or this guy would have taken a pretty long time to defeat.
Oh, did I ever doubt you for a second? Maybe, but only very briefly.
Titan Isles is also a great single-player experience without a doubt, but with friends, it's that much better, especially with cross-player support. I had to take on the last two stages by myself, including the final boss, and I was relieved to know the final boss wasn't the toughest. Well-designed SciTech games, well designed. There are also no health pickups. You start out with 3 hearts on your left wrist. As you take damage, the hearts chip away. When 1 heart is lost, you respawn at a checkpoint. When all hearts are lost, Quirk gives you a revive. After the revive, you respawn with 1 heart. When all revives are done, you're taken back to Cloud's Edge. Because it's not a roguelike, you don't get the opportunity to spend XP on upgrades after each defeat. Nope, you have to learn from your mistakes and go again, the old-fashioned way.
I saw your vitals flatline. Glad to see that was just a glitch. Or a short death.
Like I said earlier, there is endgame content in Titan Isles, so while I'm more a one and done, move on to the next experience kind of person, if you love Titan Isles as much as I did and are into replaying and getting the most out of each of your experiences, then Titan Isles got you covered. Other than the side activities, there's a decent endgame waiting for you, especially if you didn't use all of the suits and would like to max each out with upgrades. If there's a DLC down the line, some additional campaign missions, I'll be in though.
Eager, are we? That'll come in handy.
So to wrap this up, Titan Isles is an entertaining, immersive VR experience with a good story, good voice acting and sound design, beautiful cartoon-styled, cel-shaded visuals that work great for both PC VR and standalone, and I'm sure PSVR 2 in the future, excellent gameplay mechanics, and an overall package that does not overstay its welcome with a compact, concise runtime. Titan Isles turned out better than expected. Thanks again to SciTech Games for the keys.
Great work.
Watch the Lab Video Game TV, the TV series, on Flow One in 25 Caribbean countries and on the Caribbean's premium streaming app, Stream Blue. Listen to the Lab Video Game TV's gaming news every Thursday at 4 p.m. during the Sage Projects on Ontario's Island Radio, 101.3 FM and online at cjai.ca. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's say on the other hand though, I found a way to piss you off with this one. Then take the logical course of action. Dislike, unsub, leave a fiery comment voicing your displeasure. Whatever it takes to make you feel vindicated, partner. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
Right, let's get back to Cloud's Edge and give Visca the good news.